We wear the mask that grins and lies. It shades our cheeks and hides our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouthed with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet, and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. I decided to be a poet on an autumn night in 1963 in the Paul Laurence Dunbar Branch Library because something deep inside me instinctively understood poetry a lot better than I even understand it now. And at the same time that I was realizing that, I was reading John Donne and Lawrence Ferlinghetti at the same time, neither of whom are African Americans, but I understood them, and I was like 12 years old. It was an epiphany or a revelation or something. It's like, wow, I really understand this. This is very important. I wasn't sure why, but since then I figured out that without poetry, nothing really feels worthy. And I felt that was really important, and somebody had to do that. But I decided to do that because in my mind, I was just a little colored boy who wasn't going to be president, you see, and wasn't going to be mayor, and I had nothing to lose. Poetry seemed like a risky business. So if you had the opportunity to be president or ambassador to France or something, you wouldn't want to risk your talent on this. But if you're just a little nigger in Oklahoma City, where telephone booths are segregated and you got fingers telling you where you can pee safely, it seemed like, well, what the heck, you know? I have nothing to lose. Carter G. Woodson called for a Negro History Week back in the early 1920s for black people's benefit. But if you really think about it, you know, to a certain extent, it was for the celebration and observation of what we've been through. But it was and is as much for the rest of the country as it is for us. You know, but for far too long, well, since the 60s, black history, African American history in America has been almost synonymous with civil rights history or, quote, slave history. And there's a whole segment of our history as far as the contributions that we have made, scientific, medical, architectural, civic, and so forth, that hasn't even been addressed, that would put a lot of folks at ease. And I think that all of that can only be sustained through a lopsided or misunderstanding of American history. So my whole drive is to try to mainstream, you know. I think that Carter G. Woodson, when he called for a Negro History Week, was hoping that at some point, you know, we would evolve out of the need for a Negro History Week. And I know for a fact that he wasn't calling for a month or a week of indictment, blame, or any of that, but it was as much celebration and observation and providing information about Dr. Charles Drew, Benjamin Banneker, or Matthew Henson, or any of the African Americans who contributed to the great and glorious thing that is American history. I see, as a, quote, culture bearer, I see African American culture, Indian American culture, Asian American culture, and Hispanic American culture, and I honestly mean this from the bottom of my heart, it's absolutely vital to the sustenance and survival, to the full realization of American culture. I don't think you can have an American culture without the utmost respect for the various ethnic threads that go into weaving this solid cord that we have, you know. And so as African American, I feel that the service I do as a culture bearer or poet, which is what I am, is not so much for my people, African American people, but as it is for my fellow American people.